Well, hello, community and creatives and kind folks out there, the RPG community. This is RPG with DBJ. I'm glad you could join me. Today, for tips and tricks, I just wanted to go over a few of the plethora of digital tools, technology that we can use at the table. Um, some of which, despite the fact that many people at their table have like the no cell phone rule. There's a lot of technology that we can use at the table, live, and some of them are based on the specifics of what you want to use them for, and basically just want to go over some things especially for those who are creatives, who want to be writers, um, who take pride in developing settings and things like that. So um, one of the tools I wanted to talk about was there are plenty of writing tools. The two that come to mind, first of all, are extremely basic cloud services, and of course, there's Google Docs and OneNote. Um, if you intend on writing at all, you and you're always on the move, or you like to go between between a pad, your phone, your home computer, your laptop, what have you, having a clouded cloud service document is definitely something that you're going to really want. Um, Google Docs is really good for it. OneNote. Now, I personally use Google Docs. I tend to fall in line for trying to use things that are free or free-ish as close as possible. So Google Docs is really good for that. OneNote I have not used, but I understand that it is close to it. If I'm not mistaken, I've heard people say that you can drag and click articles and pictures and things like that. Same thing with Google Docs. You can drag and click or download artwork and place it into a document. Now, Google Docs isn't for everyone, but for me, the two things that really help me use it are coming up with a good title, something that when you label your file, that you can quickly view on your phone or laptop. And I'm a visual individual, so at the top of many of my files, I'll snatch a photograph or a picture or piece of artwork or something that's indicative of the file that I'm using. And I'll just grab that picture, throw it at the top, and then start labeling things underneath. And yes, you've got all the usual things. It's a document writer, so you can change the fonts and the sizes. It's got all the typical bolds and italicized and underlines and things, numbering and bullet headings. So it does have all of that. It gives you a word count. So if you like to write, and when you want to challenge yourself to write so many words a day or a week, you can also get you can also get word counting on that. One of the things that game masters are always looking for are names. So you can, if you just do some Google foo, typing yourself, role-playing game like random name generators and such, you can find a host of random name generators. Some work better than others for your uses. For example, there are name generators that create regional names, so, real world names. So whether it's Egyptian or Ethiopian or Nordic or Australian or something like that, you can toggle through them. Some are fantasy name generators where you can click dwarven names versus elven names and such. Some random name generators are better than others. For example, some of the random name generators will come up with rather impronounceable names, which is all right. But yeah, using those name generators is very good. I don't have one off the top of my head that I use, but I know that whenever you refresh the page, it gives you a grid of like 30 names right on the front page, instead of like 1 to 5 names that you have to keep toggling through. So yeah, getting a name generator that throws up like a ton of names, you can pick and choose which ones you want to use. That's a really good tool as well. Of course, we've got to go to Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds. If you want to put in the work, Roll20 is a great tabletop, is a virtual tabletop location for you to use using a grid, possibly a top-down grid for you to create dungeons and locations, and your players can all be logged onto the same setting. They even have a ambient lighting setting. So if the players have torches or lanterns, it will illuminate specific portions of the dungeon and leave others in the dark based on where they've moved to. And you can hover over and toggle each of the icons, which gives its abilities, hit points, creatures' hit points, and abilities, what's left, that kind of thing. From what I understand, Roll20 takes a little bit of prep work because they do not have a contract to use all the materials from 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. So you must use the what's available in the SRD, the system resource document. So it doesn't have everything, but it does have some of the rules. So, and it also has macros, which basically a macro is in the context of Roll20 is that it can combine the needed die rolls that you need for specific spells or abilities or something, and you can modify them inside the program. So you can come up with the type of die rolls with the bonuses and penalties automatically and just click it. And then on the side, there's a group chat where whenever you need your die rolls, it will tell you who created the die roll and the results of said die roll. Also with Fantasy Grounds, of course, Fantasy Grounds has a contract with WotC, so it has all of that information. I've never used Fantasy Grounds. I've seen it. You can also, of course, absolutely at any time get online, take a look at what those uses are for in terms of playing the game in a digital format. Some do not like using digital formats for the tabletop setting because it can be a distraction. Some feel like it's immersive breaking, but like anything, it just depends on how good you are at using it. And so it may take some time for you and or yourself or your players or the dungeon master to just get used to using the interface while talking and showing things that are on in a digital format. If you are like me and you can get distracted or hyper focused on something, it can be a distraction. So while you're trying to describe what the room looks like, and then you stop, and then now you're trying to zoom in on the room and show where all the players are at, and then maybe you're trying to point and click. One of the problems that I hear most often about those virtual tabletops is that when the players make a left turn and you're not prepared for it, it's very difficult to on the fly come up with new rooms, new elements or obstacles that you want them to encounter. For example, if you have a cave system, but then they say, hey, we're not going to go in the cave, we're going to climb up the mountainside, and you're like, wow, I was hoping they would go deeper in a dungeon, but they didn't do it. Then in some ways, dungeon masters, game masters can be a little frustrated with that. Also, there are online systems, for example, not online, apps. So, for example, I have an app on my phone called 5th Edition, the 5th Edition Character Creator. Very easy to do. It's got a lot of pull downs. It's like a 4 or 5 page setup where you just swipe left or right, and it takes you to different portions. It allows you to get character levels, create characters, type in alignment and equipment and things like that, notes and such. It automatically expands out. So you really don't want to use it to type in, a 5-page backstory, because the minute you do that, then you have to page through 5 pages of backstory to get to the notes below that. But luckily, those open areas for like flaws and ideals and such are towards the bottom on one of the pages. It also does automatic use for using your hit dice, expenditure of spell slots, taking damage, things like that. Now, of course, online there are, for those of us that used Google Hangouts, they used to have a ton of apps, especially dice rolling apps. They are no longer active. But if you're using Google Hangouts or even Zoom, there is a personal chat room. And especially with Zoom, you can actually tag specific people. And with Google Hangouts, you can tag specific people. So if you're the game master or dungeon master, you can send people private notes in a group chat. And you can also type in die rolls. Now, for the most part, those who play online, you can just grab some dice on the side, roll them, and tell people what your die rolls are. If there's a problem with trust in terms of rolling dice, there are online die rolling websites that you can just point and click what type of die rolls you want. But for the most part, especially with Google, with Hangouts and with Zoom, a lot of those die rolls are behind the scenes. So if you like to watch live plays, a lot of that's behind the scenes, and you just have to have a lot of trust. Also, there are online creators, systems where you can create characters, monsters, adventures. For example, there's a very old one called Mythweavers. Mythweavers, old, but it does create, if you want to just have go to a location that creates like a 1-page dungeon, you get on that, go do it. It basically just toggle through how many secret doors you want, how many rooms, what level of dungeon you want, how many concealed doors, how many pit traps, general traps, and things like that. You click it, and it will, every time you refresh it, it just basically makes a brand new 1-page dungeon. Typical, I think 5-foot or 10-foot squares, where the squares are as big as you want them to be. I believe it's traditional OSR 10-foot squares, and instant map, 1-page map. You can print it out or toss it up online, whatever you like. Also, there are places like wikis that allow you to create worlds. I believe Obsidian Portal is an older format, but it looks really nice. You can import artwork or photographs that become like the wallpaper in the background, and it also has some free backgrounds as well. It does take a little bit of work to use Obsidian Portal, but you can create like a wiki for your own setting, and it's pretty rudimentary, but it's really effective, especially when you want to have like just a couple of pages for your setting and what you'd like to have. Also, recently, Jared Premod uploaded a video on the use of something known as Orc Pub for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. All the things I'm talking about, I'm going to have all the things down in a doobly-doo. I'm finished. So Orc Pub, there's a video far better for him to describe how to use it, but it's basically a point-and-click character creator for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. Very easy to navigate, from what I understand. Probably take you less than 10 minutes to fully go through each of the options. Very easy, very simple to use. There's also a world anvil. I'm sure if you've been online for any period of time, you've seen World Anvil. World Anvil is like a writer's paradise. It breaks everything down from languages to cultures to nations to faiths, economies, war, just everything. Locations like mountains and deserts and all those kind of things, and breaks them down in a logical, creative manner. And you can type it in. Now, specifically game wise, is very generalized. So anything that you input, like say like rules wise, is up to you. But if you really, really, really want to create a deep, immersive setting, I would suggest using World Anvil. All the ones that I've mentioned to you are free. And lastly, one of the Vince, what's going on there, man? And lastly, one of the things I want to talk about is not an online thing, but it's an app. It's a Syrinscape. If you've ever seen, if you like music and sound effects, and you really want to get your players immersed at the table, you want to play music. You love to do things like I used to love lighting candles for my players. And there's even candles that have certain scents as well, that can really bring people in, whether it's like dank dungeons or cut grass or dead bodies or something like that. They have plenty of things like candles or beaded scents, the little moist beads that are soaked together. I've got a stack of like 80 different scents for things like that, whether it's a campfire or like I said before, dark dungeon or rainfall or things like that. Now, Syrinscape itself creates sounds and or music. It is an app on the phone, and you can have that live at the table. I suppose if you set it up correctly, you can have that live near your microphone. And Syrinscape is actually pretty cool because it has let's see if I can even activate it. I didn't even think about activating it. Syrinscape allows you to tap specific sound patterns. There are free ones that they have. There's ones for fantasy, and there's 2 for fantasy and I believe 2 for science fiction. And when you activate it, when you toggle between the sounds, it automatically does like a little fader. I'm not using probably the correct audio terms, but it'll fade in and out, so it's not jarring. It's not like you're stopping a song and then starting it again. You can also go in and increase or decrease the number of or the amount of music or what have you for each one. So let's see. Let's go for Bugbear Battle. All right. Nope. Let's go. And I was hoping I would be able to get this done because it does take a little while. Settings. Let's close this out. And come on. I was hoping it would be ready by the time. Get on out of there. Get on out of there. Get on out. Get on out of there. Get out. Oh, well, I suppose not. So anyway, it has buttons for specific things, whether it's like sword strikes or being hit by an arrow or someone casts a spell. It even has funny things like if someone fails, it's like got the wah 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 wah. It's really cool, and actually quite hilarious in many ways. But also there's the science fiction one. You have things like going into hyperspace or firing the torpedoes and things, and you can just tap those in general. Your other players could also have them on their phones to use them when it's there are sound effects that they want for their own particular player characters. And let's see. Don't want to log in. I just want to close out. Oh, start. Oh, I hadn't activated in a while. That's why. So, lastly, what are some other online tools? You got sound, you've got writing. Um, um, Vince says having good sound really uh, helps in creating an atmosphere. And you know what? Even the funniest thing, even with sound, is like I don't think my sound is the greatest, but getting a good microphone, right? Um, Usually one between $30 to $60. I bet plenty of people buy them like on Amazon or whatnot. Getting a good microphone. There's a company called Blue, and Blue has something called a snowball. It's a big round thing. You get them in various colors. You can also get I it's like a dispersion shield. It's like a spit shield, I call it. It's a little um, fragment, thin fragment thing that keeps the S's and the P's, the pops from the P's and the hisses from the S's down to a minimum on your audio. So when you're talking with people, especially online, if you're an online gamer or a online content creator, it's a great method to get audio. And especially even if you're doing video, even if your video isn't the best, whether you have just a small camera, you're using your camera from your phone or camera off of your laptop computer, you have something, having great audio is really, really what you need, because great audio will draw in people if you are a content creator, especially if they're not looking at the video. If they're on their phone and the screen is kind of small, or they're home and they throw on YouTube and it takes, I believe it's like 3 to 5 seconds. Most people will either stay for a video or click off of it. And to capture them in that 3 to 5 seconds, if you have great audio, it'll hold on to them. If your audio has a lot of audio noise in the background, whether it's like wind or static, or like me, sometimes you'll hear like click from from a keyboard, or you'll hear the sound of wheels moving or something like that, or you may hear family members walking around in the background. If you can all bring that down to a minimum, even this I don't know, my background actually cuts down on the echo of noise. And so there's even some people that will use sound absorbing materials in a small room or a closet or something, and that keeps your voice or background sounds from echoing out into the world. Oh, Syrinscape is open. Yay! Let's see if this works. Okay, so right now I have something open on my phone called the Bugbear Battle. This is one of the free sounds. Of course, you can always get online and take a look at, get on YouTube, Google any of these things. But I thought I'd try to actually have one of these play. So RP Gamer says audio is definitely the most important for online play, because most people like to share screen and show images to increase immersion. So camera is not so important. Correct. For those who are trying to get into online gaming, you definitely want to have audio. It is not necessary for you to have video. Also, with the ability to, especially on Hangouts, you can screen share, and by being able to screen share, you can create a file. Just go use your Google Foo, go to like DeviantArt or any number of like great places to grab some art, get a file, and dump in it any number of pictures that you want for NPCs, creatures, locations. There's tons of like landscapes and things like that. Take a file, throw those images in it for your setting or even a specific adventure. Maybe you have a adventure in the high seas and there's a couple of monsters and Cthulhu or something like that. Sirens out on the high seas. So you take that file, you throw in those pictures, and then you screen share those images of the NPC that's on the deck, the captain of the ship. Maybe before they go off when they're sailing, you have a picture of the NPC that is the bartender or something, and then you can have pictures of the town guard, and then of course go on into your more fantastical elements, whether it's trolls or undead or things. Vincent says, do you use Roll20? I do not use Roll20. I have played in plenty of games that have used Roll20 to various effects. Roll20 is very, as opposed to Fantasy Grounds, Roll20 is very open sourced, so you can absolutely customize it for what you want. The only problems I've ever had with Roll20, and I've never done a creation system in it, is that it's front loaded, so you need to do some work up front, but once you do the work, you're done. Also, because you have to use their I'm not a technical individual, so with me not being technical, if there is a problem or with each person's particular computer speeds, sometimes some things catch up faster than others while you're on their servers, and so that can be hit or miss sometimes. RP Gamer says, I've seen players share an image of the PC they're playing rather than a camera. Absolutely. I've been trying to figure that out though, like because I know how to, like, you can screen share your own. You say you find a picture of your PC, you throw the PC up. Google Hangouts used to allow you to do lower thirds. A lower third is like a bar at the bottom where you can type in the information that you want, whether it's the name of your character, the name of the adventure, maybe some hit points and armor class, maybe general skills or abilities based on the font and the size of the font that you use. Google Hangouts does not allow you to do lower thirds anymore, so you have to use like a third-party lower third generator, which I think it's booty, although I mean, it is free, so I mean, you only, they can cut out whatever they want, but I do wish they still had the lower thirds. RP Gamer says, I used to, but now I prefer just Hangouts with offline dice rolling or dice roller app. Yeah, there's plenty of apps. You can just go to, if you're an Android user, or it doesn't matter, just go find an app, type in random die generators. Some are really cool where you shake your phone, you hear the dice rolling and such. Elise C says, I really like the map building on Roll20. Helps me save minis going digital. Yes, it's there are Roll20, I believe, allows you to find and or purchase like online minis, or I guess you call them tokens, which allow you to upload. You can upload an image of your PC and place it into a token. So as you move the token around, you have the facial image of your character, which is actually really cool. RP says, I find it easier to show images to the group through Hangout. Also, I didn't find the inbuilt chat that good, so I was using Roll20 through Hangouts. Okay. He said, RP says, that's probably the part I miss. Yeah, you know what? And right now, there's so many divergent tools out there that you kind of have to find the thing that fits for you and or fits for your group. Certain people like specific things. For example, Discord. I know some people swear by Discord as the group chat, and then we'll use like Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds or something like that for maps and moving around minis. Others are very theater of the mind and use Google Hangouts or Zoom. Zoom is for me, I think Zoom is very stable, but I believe one person has to purchase a Zoom account, and then they can just have as many people jump in to allow you to record and broadcast on YouTube, so that you can place them on your channel, or maybe even record them onto your computer. so you can edit them, maybe add in sound effects or things like that. While we're talking, let's see if I can show this image here. Let's see if this will show. This is trying not to get a reflection. This is the app on my phone for like Syrinscape. So while we're talking, I'm just going to activate here at the very top on where my finger is pointing. These are different sound maps, which means that they've already included a number of sounds layered at various sources, and you can just hit them. So I'm going to hit here and start something called The Battle Begins. Let's see if I can get the sound up a little higher. So I hope this is not this Syrinscape is actually free. You can go in and purchase different sound what would you call those sound versions. So Syrinscape is the name of it, SYRE. And so let me show you some of these. Let me take this down and just show you some of the sound possibilities. Let's see if this will go in on the side. So let's zoom in. I've got my light up a little too. It's not good. Okay. Let me use my finger here. Right here on the side, this second option is free. Right down here are all of the sound maps that they have that you can purchase. And what happens is when you purchase them, you get a block of them. So for example, it's not that you purchase each one individually. There we go. And they keep going on and on and on. The individuals that created Syrinscape actually have worked with WotC. And so there's a new thing called the Dragon Heist. And they actually went into the Sirens. They went into the WotC offices and recorded their voices and layered them and are modulating them so that the employees that work at WotC that are creating creating the sounds that are used specifically for the new module for Dragon Heist, a new adventure path or adventure setting, actually have the voices of the people that work there. So that's kind of cool. But anyway, you can hear this going on right now. As I change, I'm going to change to another thing. This one is called Battle Begins. Now, if I hit more music, the second option, all of a sudden you'll hear it start to flow. You'll just hear more music automatically. It fades into it. Now, if I pick I can hit here and it says no swords. I bet that, and he says Vincent sounds a bit weird, but could be the indirect sound. Yes, because it's coming from the top of my thing. Now, if I hit it again, I'm going to turn it off. And it fades out. So now on these 5 options are just like a sound map of sorts. I know my hand's moving around a lot, but there's these little round buttons. And if you hit each of the little round buttons, it'll just make a specific sound effect. So if I hit here, let's hit it again. So all I'm hitting is a thing that just says growls. And when you hit the growls, there's actually multiple growls, so it doesn't make the exact same growl sound. So for example, over here, down here, we've got curses. No, Vince says, is this only fantasy sounds? This specifically is the fantasy version of Syrinscape, and they also have a sci-fi version of fantasy. Sirenscape has a sci-fi version and a fantasy version, and that is extremely general. The sci-fi version, of course, has about if it has a free version which just has like the sound effect of like the decks, the moving of doors, hyperspace, alarms going off, the sound of air escaping into vacuum and such. And there's also the fantasy version. And now, mind you, that's very general. For example, they've for their free sounds, they have Bugbear Battle, and there's also Weirdwood is another one. So it's like a horror version. So for the sci-fi version, they have like more modern or cyberpunk. They have like high science fiction. They have war and everything. All of these buttons here, you can just tap them, and it will. Let's see if you guys could hear that. Actually, what I just pushed is Fireball spell. There's Force Missile, Lightning spell, etc., etc., etc. So if you just tap any of them, I don't know if you. I don't think the sound is really coming through. Let's get this closer to the phone here. There we go. Are you guys hearing any of that? There we go. So, with Syrinscape, oh, you can hear everything. Okay, there's even some silly ones on. That was an accident. There's some silly ones on here that you can have. So I can go through each one of these, and each time you hear one, Vince is saying it doesn't sound clean, and that's probably just because of the fact that I'm not like this isn't direct audio. It's coming from my phone into the microphone, but that is victory. So if your player character's defeated the creature, you can do that. And there's a bunch of these. Dramatic note, arrow in flesh, arrow in wood, wood impact, sword swoosh, sword clash, gasp, things like that. RP says, Gamer says, just checked a website and there is a PC version that you can hook up to hang out and use directly in your game. Yeah. I'm not sure about the, okay. Hangouts tends to, in many ways, when someone's speaking, it has interference when two or more people are speaking. So I'm not sure if the sound effects will override someone else who is also trying to speak, allowing you to toggle between the two. I know that Zoom, which is another conference, use just like Hangouts, is extremely stable when it comes to multiple sounds as you're trying to push them across to the other people. So like if you have music playing, I'm not sure if the music playing will override someone else trying to talk. But I know the PC version, you can just click and it has all the different sound effects and things like that. So there's some of these are like rather silly. Or how about and the classic. Yeah, so some of it is pretty silly. Some of your battle oriented ones, you can just tap them as much as you want. And that's just me. That's actually me just popping each of these randomly. Just I'm just playing this like so yeah. Let's see. There's a victory, dramatic moments. RP says on website they say you can use their sounds in your game or blog videos, even monetize as long as you credit them. Yes. From what I understand, they're just basically audio files. They love these. They love. Let's see if we. All right. So let's go back to the music and things. I'm going to see if I can pull up I'm going to pull up the way that you can modify each of these sound maps. So let's see here. Is that it? Is it settings? Nope. There we go. There we go. All right. So right here are the sound mappings, and the sound maps can be changed by you. So if you click down here, if you can take a look, you see all these sliders. Those sliders, you can modify them for your specific setting and whatnot. So I can take a slider here and move it up. And what slider did I affect? Battle cries. And actually, if you, okay, I'm going to hold it. There we go. As the music and sounds are playing, you can actually see them in the little circles here. You can actually see them activating and turning on and off as the sound plays. Some of them are quick, some of them are slow. You can do this. All right, so I can actually go here, pop here. Maybe one of the players casts a spell. Maybe they cast a fire spell. Maybe one of the players does something bizarre. Or they do something strange. Or somebody rolls a fumble, and you want to give them the so yeah, it's pretty cool. Of course, they have the sound down here. You can kind of lower it down a little bit. Boom, 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 just in case it's really loud. Maybe victory is at hand. There's a dramatic moment coming up. And slowly it'll start to shift over. Music's changed a little bit. The bugbear sounds have gone down. And they start to win and they take the bad guy out. Kind of cool. Let's see if we can go over to, we're going to go over to the science fiction one, just because, just for purposes, see if this will come up for me here. Bring up the science fiction. So anyway, that I think Syrinscape is really cool, man. I like the idea of like adding in sound effects on the fly. Rather cool that you can use sound effects, especially if you play online. And it's just a really cool system. So right now I turned on the science fiction version of it. It's just downloading. There we go. That's what it looks like on the phone. I know I'm getting a lot of reflection because you won't be able to see me without this light, and I have a filter on the light. If I took the filter off the light, it would get even brighter. So actually, it's a double. It's like a lampshade and a thing over top of the lampshade. Yeah. Okay. So those of us that love science fiction, there are a couple of like sci-fi maps here. Let me slide this over. So here we go. Shipboard here at the top is the free one, and then they have a whole bunch of other ones that you can purchase, and they come in groups. So when you purchase each block of groups, if you want to get more sound effects, they're each here. So so this one is called, come on, because I'm gonna affect something with, I can't see this. Yeah, whatever. All right, shipboard. Nope, that's not what we want. Cinematic space battle. There we go. Shipboard. There we go. Shipboard. All right, so we have different sound mappings, like in spaceport, cruising in open space, busy on the bridge, and all's quiet on board. So we're in a spaceport. I'm going to hit spaceport at the very top here and turn the sound up. Sorry. There we go. I'm not sure about using your own sounds, but you can find the sounds that you want and modulate them the way you want to use them. So as far as uploading your own sounds, I don't believe that's possible, but you are able to toggle through a number of different sounds. So this is on the bridge. See, I've got the sound up as high as I can. Let's see. Nope, not. I can get even louder. RP Gamers is conference software. I've recently tested the free version of Zoom. It is slightly better quality than Hangout video-wise, but in the free version, you can only hold chats for 45 minutes. Yeah. That, and I think you're not even allowed to record them unless you do it on your own computer, instead of just broadcasting directly to like YouTube. RP says the cost of Zoom to me isn't worth it compared to what you can do for free in Hangouts and Skype. Right. So, of course, here we have different sound effects. Where's my finger? Little fat finger. So if you have a little, so if you have a robot, you can have it talk to someone. You can press up here. Come on, come on, come on, activate. I'm hitting my camera. Where's it? Come on, finger. RP Gamers says, sorry for interrupting. DBJ, I know you're having fun. Yeah. It's just a little cool tool. At the bottom here, we've got like scanners and distress signals. So those are really cool, like sound things you can do at the bottom. Right here, if we hit this, again, this is these are, let's see, get this, there we go. These are the sliders that you can adjust up and down. So it's multiple, what you're hearing is multiple sounds all happening at different rates of speed and intensity. So you can affect the intensity. So like this one's moving pretty slow. You can move it down so it's, you know, it increases, decreases, and it'll just save it at the last space that you left it. Here, bam, you switch one over. And then switch over to the next one. And the sliders will just automatically change. RP Gamer says, you know, DBG plays that distress signal when the wife asks her to do something. Like, no, I can't do it. No. So as far as like using the sci-fi thing, you could talk with, like, you know, you're talking with a robot. Right. So the multiple sounds, you just click them and it'll turn on. start up a little. It'll start up a little bit slower. Gives you a little bit of a slightly intro. Vince says it's neat. Maybe I'm going to use that for my next. It's free here. Custom Blaster Battle. Custom mods. Nope. Blaster Battle. There we go. Blaster Battle's downloading. There we go. All right. So this is the other free sound soundboard for the sci-fi version of Syrinscape. And let's find some aliens, blasters, laser shots, explosions. We've got some distress signals, scanners. Oh, I don't see aliens. Not in the free one. Oh, shit. All right. So this one is all battle. What you're listening to is Take Cover. Move on to the next one. And the last one. Yeah, Vince says I need a hybrid between fantasy and sci-fi, or switch around all the time. Actually, well, for free, you might want to do that. So turn this down. For free, you might want to do that, or like I said, let's see, on the side here, there are blocks that you can purchase. I'm not sure exactly offhand, like the prices, but when you have these different, trying to hold my phone because I want to drop in it. It's a little slippery on the side. With these different blocks, I guarantee you there's like alien battles and things like that. And all of these, like these, I do not have. You just tap them and they ask you, do you want to download them individually, or you can get the different blocks of sounds. So there's plenty of sci-fi menus you can pick from. And of course, let's move this over here. Of course, you come with all these buttons. Yeah, come on, button. Oh, I turned you down. There we go. Turn you back up. Media. There we go. Okay. So, because I can't even see what's going on. You can hit like explosions, and some of these buttons, when you hit them, it has a random sound that's with them. So I'm hitting the same button over and over again. And it gives you 3 different sounds, I believe it toggles through. There's a laser shot. And then, of course, there's things like scanners, distress signal, blaster impact, et cetera, et cetera. So you can... Yep. Yep. All right, that's enough of that. All right. So anyway, I think that's about it. I'm having too much fun playing with this thing. But anyway, you can have this sitting on the side. You can also download it for your PC. Have it ready so you have a couple of sound effects that you want to use. You can turn the sound up and down so you just have it in the background. So if you just want turn on the music, You can have this in the background. Turn it down a little bit. Maybe there's something in the music that you want to enhance for your own game. So you just hit this, and then you just use the toggle switches to turn up and down the sound effects that's in that music for what you want. All right, so let's turn this on. I'm hoping that I'm not sure if you can purchase every sound set. They're constantly making new sound sets. I believe that you can purchase blocks of sound sets. Like I believe it's like 5 to 10 at a time, and then each of those sound sets, you can then adjust the toggles on all of those individual sound sets, and it just saves the setting. So if you go to the sound set, push a couple of toggles and leave out of it, it just leaves it at the last place that you left it. So if you want to up the sound, and you can rename them, as I forgot to tell you that within your own app you can rename the custom mods. So for example, under like sci-fi, you can use, they have like a customized setting. So it's not you creating your own sounds. It is you having the sounds and modulating where those sounds are at, and then you have that custom modification. So right here, let's see if I can show this to you. Let's see, get in a little closer. All right, so 1, 2, and 3 is custom mod 1, 2, and 3. So if I hit custom mod, let's see, come on, activate. Did I just go there? Oh, I don't have. There we go. Download custom mods for free. Oh, well, let's go ahead and download it. We're done. Okay. So right here, I'm into a custom mod. And this, I can make this my own sound set by using different toggles for that sound set. Let's move over. And so there's nothing here. Boom. Create the sound set that I want, whether it's so right now it's just called silence. So there's nothing there. And
for information on this extremely useful sound set, hit the little eye in the bottom left-hand corner and you can read all about it. But I suppose you want me to explain it to you too. You know that I have a brain the size of a planet. This is very much information on this extremely.
So right now, I didn't know this. Right now, if you tap right next to silence, it says info. There's this little icon here. There's info, and that's the little robot is explaining to you how to the information on how to change this from silence to what you want and create your own sound set. So you can hit plus here. Come on. Maybe I haven't put any sounds into it, but these are different sound effects that you can use on the fly. And then, if I'm not mistaken, you can come on, phone. Allow me to add to it. I have to go through it, so I'm doing this live, so that doesn't make any sense to put you guys through it. But anyway, this is a map of the custom sound set. This is a page for you to use, or if you're using your phone, using some of these sounds and some of the sounds that it has in the app. You use your toggles, you move them around, you give it a name, and then you're done. So I think that's kind of cool. Yeah, I don't know. I like Syrinscape. I'm sure there are other sound system versions out there, like companies or whatnot. But I know Syrinscape is specifically role play, sci-fi, fantasy centric. So I don't think you'll have any problems finding anything out there for it. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to talk about some different types of tools. I will be popping in probably I don't know, 6 to 10 different tools in their websites and things. You can check them out, see if it's useful for you. If you've heard of things that are like close to what you've used, but haven't used them before. So I'll put that down on the doobly-doo as well. RP Gamer says, I could use some of those as intro background music for my videos. Absolutely. I think the only thing you need to do is just, is like it says, you can use them in your videos. You just have to say where you got it from, because it's advertisement for them, which of course is what I'm doing now for them. So I'm not stealing anything. If you're claiming that you have these sound effects and you're not using it, of course, absolutely, at the minimum, just say where you got it from. Syrinscape, I've listened to podcasts that they were on, and I believe there is, if you look up Twitch or YouTube for Dungeons and Dragons, they were interviewed about creating the specific sound sets for the new release of Ravnica and Dragon Heist and Eberron. I believe the sound sets are specific for Dragon Heist, but they're just an urban sound set, and those sound sets are like taverns and streets and alleys and things like that. So I think that's kind of cool. I like the idea of using that. How it integrates into Hangouts, I'm not sure. I know Hangouts, you have conflict issues where multiple people are talking, and Hangouts is trying to toggle between the two sounds that are overlapping each other, and whether that will be a problem when it comes to using music. For sound effects, I don't think that'll be much of a problem. Also, I like the idea of the app on the phone, because if the other people can bring their phones, especially to the table or even Hangouts or something, or their computer, let's say one person's a barbarian or a fighter, one person's like a paladin, another one's a warlock, another's a wizard or a cleric or something, they can just toggle their own sound effects to say, hey, I'm casting a burning hand spell, I'm casting a fireball, I'm casting a lightning bolt, and just blast it or something and find the sound effect that's good for their character. So if you really want to have like a dynamic, like live play, that each person could have just say, hey, these are my 3 sound effects I'm going to use for my character. Is that okay? And just say yes. And then when they say, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to hit them with my sword, bing, 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 boom, or I'm using my arrows and hit arrows shot in the flesh or something. That'd be kind of cool. Also, lastly, you could even, I know this sounds kind of strange, but you could even have a third-party person. So you could have someone who's really not able to, or doesn't really want to play, but they control the soundboard. And they could be the person using the sounds in the background, whether it's like, if they hear that you're going through like a mysterious dark wood, they can click like the setting for like wind and noise and ambient sounds and like, the ooh kind of things in the background. They could do those too. So yeah, one more, let's say before I get out of here, let me turn on let's see if we can go into the fantasy generator and go to the dark wood. So right now, I think it's coming up. Boom. I don't want to log in. Not right now. Brindle Town for free. This sound set is ready for download and install. Okay, let's see. Queued for download. Downloading Brindle Town. Vincent says, I made stuff like that for playing the werewolf game. You know what? I was thinking the same thing, where you could have like... it's where you want something that's more horror enabled installing. Oh, okay. Brindletown is just installed. This is so I'm doing this live, right? So Brindletown is a sound set that I've just downloaded. So let's see what we have here. This is Busy Market Day. Let's get the sound up here. Turn the sound up a little bit more. It's very low. It's more like ambient noise in a marketplace. All right. Bard's Day Off. That's funny. Bard's Day Off. It's not bad. This one is very subtle. It's very, very subtle. Setting up for the morning trade. Is this that third one? Right. Yeah, it's not really much there. Wow. This one is far more subtle. I'm sure they give this to you for free, simply because it's far more like it's more like you can just have this playing in the background. Also, from what I understand from the individuals that created Syrinscape, they created the sounds so that they are randomized. So it is not the same sound just played over and over again. It's all the same sounds, and then they are picked randomly so that it doesn't create this, like, it's not every 37 seconds you hear the same horse or same sword or same music or something. So let's turn this off. Some of these sound effects here. Let's hit horse. Let's do this again. Horse. Come on, no. Let's see, a rooster. Let's hit the rooster again. Oh, there's a cow. And then, of course, we have ourselves our blasting music, things like blade spell, and charm spell. And of course, we have ourselves a fireball. We have our force missile, since I'm sure they can't use magic missile. We got a lightning bolt. And then an ice spell. All right, so let's go over to, we've got Bugbear Battle. There we go, Witchwood. Let's go down to Witchwood. Download this sound set for free. And from what I understand, Witchwood is more of your horror-esque sounds, 87%. Boom, there we go. Let's turn this first one on. I can't even read it because it's backwards for me. Nothing unnatural. So we'll start out with nothing unnatural. It's probably just ambient sounds in the background. It's turning on. Come on. That's weird. Something's out there. Wow, that really is subtle. So in Weirdwood, let's hit some of the buttons. We've got thunder. We have roars. Let's see. We've got weird distance. Oh, rain. There we go. I think that was me by accident. We have weird distant noises. So we've got a button for weird distant noises. We've got the button for thunder. We could turn off the music. Wow. Okay. All right. It's not bad. Not bad at all. All right. So let's see if this works for here. So we have the different sound maps, and let me see if I can hit plus. Right here, save custom mood. So you can type in the mood that you want, and you can save a specific set of parameters, so you can adjust these other things. So let me cancel out of here. So boom, come on, cancel out. So you have that. Let's see, go here. Okay, so there go all the toggles. So those are the toggles you can modify, move them up and down. Each one gets a little highlight based on the sound that's being used at that particular time. You can turn them up and down for what you want, and then you can hit custom sound. So that custom soundboard is what you want for your horror game or something like that, right? So that's kind of cool. This is all the free stuff. So over here, let's hit this button here. These are the ones that you can purchase, and of course you can see all the ones that I don't have. But yeah, there's a ton of them. There's just a ton of them. Let's see, kind of go through here. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, it goes on and on and on and on and on. So kind of cool. So guys, thanks for joining me. Thank you very much. Oops, that was an accident. So thank you very much for joining me. This is Syrinscape. Really cool for if you want to add some ambient sounds and things like that. Again, these little buttons are really these little buttons on the side are really cute. Just with their what a great way to end this live stream. So guys, thank you very much. Just wanted to talk some online tools. I'll be snatching and posting up all of the websites to go check some of that stuff out, including Roll20, even because there's some people that don't even know about Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds or OneNote or even Google Hangouts and all that kind of business. So I'll throw all that in there. Maybe even come up with some new ones, and we could revisit this again, especially for those who are far better at using it. Like, for example, Vince uses Roll20 and has created a lot of I don't know what you call, like, my brain's not working. A lot of elements to use in Roll20. I've used Obsidian Portal many times before. Mythweavers I've used plenty of times, but there's plenty of things out there. I'm still trying to go through how deep you can go into World Anvil, those kind of things, and absolutely positively try to find things that are like cheaper or free, unless you really are going to use it, just because there's so many options out there. And then something may be good for you guys, but it's not good for your players, or maybe you're a player and it's not good for your DM. And also, especially with the character generators, how your DM likes to handle that. Do they like to have a copy themselves? Do they just trust that you make up your character? Do you just throw up a couple of stats into like a chat room or something like that, just so that, you know, the game master knows your perception and movements and hit points and armor class or whatever. So yeah, anyway, just thought I'd do something very general, weird live stream that's just top of the head like I always do. So anyway, guys, creators, community, and kind folk out there, please have a very good day, and I will see you tomorrow.